Welcome back, everyone. Uh, ooh, thank you for the raid, Matt. That's very fitting, as I was about to start with a quick recap of the Legacy Pit results, and I guess what I'll start off with is I'd like to congratulate again Matt for his stellar top 8 run. More impressively, he only had actually 12 matches before the event, and then very strong 10-2-1. Obviously, the one being the gentleman split at the last round. But shout out to Matt for his stellar play during the Legacy Pit Open, and overall, I think the deck did very well. We had another pilot who wasn't in contact with me, but then picked up the deck probably from online or I don't know what, but also went 10-3 and was ninth on breakers. So we potentially could have even had two in the top 8. Uh, Thank you, Matt. Take care. Hope you had a great stream. But I'll go ahead and bring it up. Actually, the results from the Legacy Pit, since that was what I was gonna go over first. And then while I do that, one other thing I want to take a look at. All right, a couple different things. I guess what I'll start off with is here were the 15. I guess what's grouped under elves. I think at this point it's kind of a misnomer because really the deck Cradle Control is like, well, for one, it has more than 20 cards different than the other deck now, the Nettle build, and at least from 5-0 dumps, uh, that's considered kind of a different deck now, right? And they play out completely different, in my opinion. If you tried either deck, it's pretty obvious, from my opinion, that they're really different animals at this point, with over 20 cards different. Because if you look at, like, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. If you take a look at, for instance, the 5-0 dump, like, they're different enough where they have two different postings now. Hey, Faltered Form, how's it going? Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I haven't tried it yet, but the reasoning is because I feel like that's not really a card I want to draw more than one of, which is why the count is at two currently. I may toy around with the third copy because they've been pretty damn, I mean, excuse my language, pretty good. But hey, let's go ahead and just talk about Legacy Pit Open here, right? Like, this doesn't have the full standings, but as you can see, after day one, there's what, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 players total with seven or one better record, and one undefeated at the time, right? Ryan, who top aided. And of the seven, we had three in playing essentially what we call Cradle Control, right? Because I like to say that because I want to reiterate the point. Like, it's really a different deck now than the Nettle Sentinel build. Like, they have more than 20 cards different. Like, I don't know. I know they get grouped the same because they both play Wirewood Symbiote, I guess, and Gaia's Cradle or Natural Order. Like, that's what they share in common, but it's not really, in my opinion, the same. It's the same as, I guess, if you want to say TES and Ant. If you want to consider those two decks the same, then sure, it's probably along those lines. But I really don't think they're the same deck anymore. Like, and pretty far from it. Especially if you look at the what is it called? Yeah, if you look, like, there's more than 20 cards different, right, for the 5-0 dump. But again, I want to shout out the three players who did really well. Four actually, really. Where's Rodney? Rodney went 6-2 day one as well. Rodney Bedell, and he also finished 24th overall. So, like, if you look at the final standings, I'll post it here. We had one top 8, and then 9th, 21st, and 24th. So, like, I think that's actually, I'll go back to the tweet. So we had a 10-2-1, 10-3, 9-4, and then 8-4-1. So shout out to Matt Sabo, who was 10-2-1, Jacob Heckert, who was 10-3, Ronnie Bedell, who was 9-4, and then Chris Reinhardt, who was 8-4-1. unfortunately had a draw, which um, hey, Mike. Hey, Adriano. Yeah, I think the deck's in a good spot. I know it's nice to be able to rest on our laurels, but that wouldn't, I think shout out to Theo Jung, by the way, who ever since I talked to him about this, like I don't just jam matches for the, or I try not to jam matches for the sake of just jamming matches anymore. I try to have an end goal, and that's been very helpful in really iterating through this new list. And I think if you are a brewer, um, you will probably enjoy. This is like a unique time I think for Legacy because I'm not close this now. Really, like there's been a lot of changes in the last 7 weeks with this deck, and I don't think we're even close to being like fully optimized, right? I'm sure, like for instance, the list that top aided. I talked to Matt about this, and he agreed Queen Ranger was kind of like not a big deal to cut, and also we could theoretically in the future cut the second Visionary too. And really, the Wirewood is a little bit unsafe if you ask me personally. Obviously, the best card creature in the deck is Reclaimer, and the second best creature in the deck is Artisan. Most people will be surprised the third best creature is actually Landlord Elf because it's absolutely broken in this build. So the Spirit Guide is actually it's fitting that Adriano asked because and shout out to Adriano, big friend of the tribe. Top aided the showcase challenge on September 25th with Moon Stompy. So it's fitting because I tweeted out that like Elves was having trouble when Moon Stompy players would know to aggressively mulligan for a turn one when they're on the play 3 drop, either Trinisphere or Blood Moon or Magus. And John Ryan Hamilton and Ryan Fisher both suggested in the Twitter thread. I kind of had an idea to try it as well, but it's hard for me to try something that's just like so out there. And Jack actually played it in the sideboard. I don't know if it was for that matchup specifically. Jack can probably elaborate more than me, but I saw that he had two in his sideboard. I think like in a prelim or something, or 5-0. I don't remember what it was, but he had it as well, and it's something I wanted to try. But then John Ryan and then Ryan Fisher gave me the go ahead, so to speak, right? Also an elf, which is like relevant for like Allosaur Shepherd. My initial build with it, like I tried cutting down to one Shepherd because I just think the card kind of sucks. I know you blue players are cringing when I say that, but honestly, I think it's like super overrated card. But what ended up happening though was you have a lot of times in the late game a lot of mana, and then like you flood out a little bit. So I think Shepherd helps for that. I think something that's been brought to my attention before, and I kind of thought about it independently as well, is what if we just cut all the Landlord Elves and play like Ignoble Hierarch, right? That is a possible move you can make, or Noble if you're splashing for white. But what ends up happening is against control, you're gonna have a little bit of a hard time because your Wirewood can't, bounce back when they're in the face of a sweeper, and also the ability to protect your mana, like against like tempo orient decks is a big deal. So the ability to turn all your mana into a finisher with Shepherd late, I think is like pretty relevant. And as of right now, outweighs the benefit of being able to splash different color, right? If you don't play an elf, so to speak, is Wirewood a sacred cow? I don't think so. I think we can trim copies. I know for a fact, Matt Sabo, who generously rated us right before I started talking right now, he was also thinking about cutting Wirewood copies. I think it's more sacred than say Visionary, which I think is just kind of. It's crazy to say this, but this is I think Legacy 2020 now or 2022. I think Visionary kind of sucks. Like if I'm being honest, like 2 mana doesn't really affect the board that much. You get tempoed out potentially. We had plenty of grind against control. I think you want maybe for sure one to like tutor for, but like I don't really like love the second copy. I just play it because there's nothing in my opinion better. Maybe that's the third Spirit Guide. I don't know, but like I don't think it's that great personally. I just don't think you have time in like Legacy these days. Like every deck is so fast in terms of, I'm talking about the decks that you can expect to see in the top eight, for instance, right? Like if you play against something that's out there, so to speak, would you consider neither reliquary if it's only green? Probably not. I mean, maybe it's hard to say, right? But it's like not an elf. That's the other thing, and three mana doesn't impact the board. I think most cases I want either Gris or Endurance, right? Like immediate impact. Um, I talked a little bit about this to the Maverick players, like how sacred is Knight of the Reliquary, because I feel like that's the card to cut, right? If you because I think Maverick should really honestly be playing Fiend Artisan, and it's insane to me that they are not. Yeah, like playing 4x Fiend Artisan. But that's neither here nor there. A card that I kind of want to test like was like Kendrick's transformation. It's kind of really out there over the Shriek Mob. It's probably gonna bite me in the butt, but I think Shriek Mob being a creature that you can once upon a time into is like pretty good. And sometimes you really just have to kill the threat, right? Like, so we'll see. We'll play it as is. We can try it actually. Actually, this is play league match. Should we add it? Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll drop. Also, I didn't learn this for a while. You can actually drop before if you haven't played a match yet and get back your your entry free if you like misregistered. So we'll just make it in real time. Actually, let's go to the building here. I think the mana base is like what I value the most. I see a lot of elf lists run only 19 lands. That just like scares the what out of me. I'm running 22 plus 3 once upon a time. I do not want to give away free wins. I know a lot of players like getting free wins. I do not want to give away free wins. We're on the Spirit Guide. We definitely are on the Spirit Guide today. And the reason being is because of Moonstomp, right? Like turn one, Trinisphere, Blood Moon. I don't want to lose to that like nonsense. All right. So what was we gonna do? Oh, Kendrick's transformation. Where is it? How about Gristlebrand? Uh, Probably instead of Progenitors. I don't know. Probably. Okay, what else can we cut? Like this is experiment time to experiment, right? Like we want to push the I really want a second trap because I keep losing to these Rite of Flame decks. The question is what do we cut? So the transformation that's for the Shriek Maw. Um Cut the ley line. I can see going down one. Yeah, that's fair. Says the Dredge Master here, right? Penguister. So we can go to down to one. Maybe this is okay. Whatever. We'll try it. Like I do not want. I'm tired of losing to these Rider Flame decks. And ironically enough, in the top eight, Matt played against. Shout out to Tony Scapone for making the top eight as well. So Matt lost to the Epic Gamble, and I think that is probably our worst matchup, right? Like obviously Belcher could be worse, but like that's not in my opinion a real deck. G Dar 09. What transformation for? Sorry, I missed it. It's just a removal spell, right? Like, maybe I mean it could hurt us, but it draws. I have no idea. I have zero games with this card ever. It's just when it got printed, I thought it was kind of neat. But and then you can like pump your own mana dork too or whatnot. But like, we'll see how this plays out. How's your Turbo Smog matchup? Probably okay depending on the version, but again, not a deck that you probably run into too much. I think if Jack's not playing the tournament, then I'm probably not too afraid of it, right? Because like who else can pilot the deck well? Unfortunately, Matt ran into I think the only top eight player that he would have lost to. I think the field was actually quite good in the top eight for Matt. There is a chance he still loses to DNT because I know like David Lance is a really good player and beat him earlier in the Swiss. His two losses, ironically, were on good matchups on paper. So he lost to DNT, and his day one loss was to 8 cast splashing for Plague Engineer, and he just said he didn't have the hand to play around it. How good is Leyline versus the Epic Gamble? It's decent, but he had Leyline faulted form game three. He won game two with it, but he had a game three, and Tony was able to power through it. So with that said, I think I like the way it is now, so we'll try it. Yeah, I actually lost to DNT recently too. I thought about just turning in my Cradle card, right? Like my license for the day. Because I did lose to DNT recently. My record against DNT is still pretty good, but like, and in the showcase, I actually beat. I think you can make a case that they're the best DNT player in the world. In shoot, I forget their name, but who did I beat? It's won a couple. It wasn't John Ryan, but it wasn't Akaleth. It was, let me look it up. All right, now I'm curious. Okay, I'll just go to the DNT page. It should be there. When is the showcase playoff? Yeah, I can look that. I think what you can do is just here. I'll look it up for you right now. It's uh, it looks like format showcase qualifier. Uh, December 11th. So I'll put it here. Looks like it's December 11th. All right. Okay, back to DNT. I never thought I would say that, but what is this person's username? It's not Yoshiwada. Oh, isolated system. There you go. That's who it was that I beat. All right. Anyways, time to start. Very possible. I want to test more spirit guides, but we're playing against a 0-2 player. I'm already afraid. I don't love this hand. It's kind of slow. If you have a dork off the like, I don't like to mulligan in general. The Caracas is almost like a mulligan. Thank you for the follow, XYZ Principal. It could be Pox in case the Gris is good, and they say good luck, have fun, which is more reason to think it's Pox. I feel like this is a mole. This is worse, unfortunately. But I think we have to keep now. So anytime somebody says good luck, have fun to me in Legacy, the first thing that jumps to mind is they're on combo or Chalice. Which I guess it fits, right? Because hey Moses, which fits because Adriano did top 8 the showcase with Moonstompy. It's, if I were to guess right now, it's show and tell. Okay, it's not show and tell. Really wish I kept that first hand now. Ugh, this hand is like garbage. I'm probably gonna lose game one. That other hand just felt so slow to me, but maybe you keep like the Caracas was like a pseudo, like a half mole as well. All right, they're gonna kill the Shepherd. I actually don't think we care. The Visionary here is kind of clutch. So the reason why I kept two Visionaries is because you never know when you're run to, I guess, a control player. Like they do exist, I guess. They're not they haven't been extinct yet. they Supreme here, we probably lose. Sure. I think we're gonna lose this game one anyways, and might have been just like us not keeping that hang. It just felt so slow, right? Thank you for the sub, Mike. Appreciate it. Mike's always very supportive. All right, what are we gonna do here? Oof. I think we're just gonna run everything out. Probably not. I know, right? 10 months, a long time. They probably have force. What did they reveal? True name. Okay, this is like a Stone Bully player, I guess. They probably have force though. Pretty sure. Well, I guess what we can do is the problem is like we can grist and tick up. They probably like if they're smart, they don't even care to be honest. We can also force check them here. Like maybe they force this. Yeah. All right. Cool. I don't think we do anything here. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So they can dig for another force. Pretty strong sequencing from them here. You want to brainstorm before you essentially swords, or to shuffle away all the other dead cards. We're gonna slam it and just hope they don't have it, right? Like, there's no more waiting. I think fetch first. I don't think it really matters. They're gonna force it no matter what. Okay, yeah. So the sequencing there helped. Like we baited out force with the Gris. I honestly thought we were gonna lose this game one, but here I think they over respected the Gris. Right? I think you let Gris resolve. You can true name take it down. Right? Like I guess they can get. Like I guess it really depends if you think your opponent getting two tokens is worth it. I honestly think they should have done the other order. Oh, you mean Narset into brainstorm? I would say I would agree. Yes. So what Adriano is hinting at is if from if you know the elf player and their tendencies, it looks like your opponent has natural order set up, so it gets more looks. That's what Adriano is looking at. So I think general heuristic is if you want to clean your hand, if you have force, then you do it the other way. If you don't have force, then you definitely go for more looks, right? Like it depends if you need the card now or need the card later. But very astute observation from Adriano. So here, looks like they're on Stoneblade, right? Like, why else would they play TNN? Um, I think in this situation, I think we want probably the Vandal if we assume that. I think there is a chance we take the Snuff out, but it's like kind of awkward. Endurance doesn't really. Well, it could like stop a Snapcaster. I guess. I don't. Against these other like mid range decks, like it's a little awkward because you don't know what half of the deck they're gonna draw. I don't love this. I don't love this. Oof might be okay if you think they're on Mystic. I think we can just board it out because we have the Mass Vandal to hedge. Agent can probably come out. I don't like love that kind of gameplay. Endurance. I can see going to three. We're kind of guessing what they're on, right? Like, typically, Stoneblade is not a real concern at the moment in terms of like metagame percent shares. Yeah. We also saw a lot of basics, so they're probably on back to basics. I think we just don't play Thoughtseize. I just like more threats, right? Like keep. So I've had extra coffee right now, so hopefully I'm just wired, right? Like to play. Had a long day, so I'm a little bit tired. Did not play Magic last night, but actually shout out to Inigo Runcore for being the first person to top eight, not top eight, to 5-0 with Cradle Control with Simeon Spear. I mean Elvish Spirit Guide. Alright, I'm fetching first to Thin. Alright, what do we want here? Probably the Endurance. So that's the thing, right? Like, I only played two Spirit Guides because I do not think we want to draw two. I think that's probably just loses the game on the spot, right? Like, you can often find use for the first one. I think two, you're probably just lose. Uh, I think we just run. We lose here to like Pyroclasm, I guess. If we play around that, I think we do this and see what they do. I don't want if they haven't played a removal spell. I don't like running the Artisan out. Um, I think we want this to resolve, and then we endurance them, so that they can't Snapcaster it back, right? Or Murktide even. Like who knows what they're playing? They're missing land drops. Okay. I think we just force out the Artisan. This is kind of cheeky. We gotta play around the wasteland here. All right, that was easy enough. I love endurance. Love endurance. I think actually endurance might be from a strategic standpoint. Well, actually, that's just this deck is just like completely different now than before, right? I was gonna, like before Artisan, I would have said there's an argument to be made. It's the second most important creature printed for the archetype after Reclaimer, but I don't think that's accurate anymore. I think that belongs to Artisan now. The reason being is endurance helps your combo matchups a lot. Uh, like I don't think people realize Elves actually has a very good combo matchup outside of exactly Rider Flame decks. This is not close. I don't love it, but it's probably gotta keep at this point. I think you put the agent back. Maybe they're thinking about forcing this. It's kind of funny. All right, we definitely take the land, and I think I take the basic. Just play it safe. The good thing is if you, it looks like Reanimator. If you have ever thought about playing elves, this is probably the best time to do so for two different reasons. I think the deck is potentially the best deck in the format, but definitely top three. And the other two, I think actually, if I had to rank right now, the best deck in the format is actually Moonstompy. The second best deck is Elves, and the third best deck is Blue Red. I was gonna post that as the hot take of the day, but like I don't even know if it's a hot take per se because Moonstompy's been just killing it in the showcases. Um, I think we do this. I think. Yeah, the top three is in some order, like those three decks, in my opinion. I feel like we bog now. If you want to put like rearrange those top three, I think that's fine. I do think Moonstompy. I wrote this in my metagame update. I have Moonstompy as the best deck in the format, like no doubt, because if you look at the win rates, it's just been through the roof, like in the showcases, right? And a lot of these players that were on Moonstompy were playing for like the first time. All right. And I think, oh wow, that's a lot of faithless looting. See, Adriano's approved there, right? Like, playing the deck for the first time. I just think those three decks are also unique in the sense that they beat combo too, right? Like, play that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we can Gris here. Uh, okay. So we can either Gris here or we can actually go for the kill. Now, what do we want to do? I think we go for the kill. Just like hope, right? All right, they have to kill us exactly this turn, or they die. I think Gris is the chicken play. Shit. That's not good. We could have got Gris, but like I feel like that's not great, right? Like because if they get Griselbrand, they can like reanimate it and then well, I don't know. That is the wrong creature to bring back, by the way. Yeah, reanimator players just do not know what's going on. A lot of them. That's the sad part, right? We might still lose, but they've given us a chance now. We just have to thin a lot now and just hope we get there. Sure. We have a lot of outs. Natural order, artisan. I should have held that in hand, but that's okay. We might still lose, but I mean they gave us a chance. It's just like whether we hit our Fiend Artisan is no longer an out. It has to be natural order, green sun, or Gris naturally. Sure. People say Reanimator's win rate is low. Um, actually, do you have the react? Okay, I think I might have not used the other Reclaimer activation the previous turn, so that's on me. Yes, Jack. All right, didn't get there. I might have missed one Reclaimer activation the previous turn, but nevertheless, we didn't get there. I'm not too afraid. Usually this is like a good matchup. This is like kind of interesting, actually. I actually think I like it. I think that looks good. The good thing is, if they had played it right, they would have won anyways. Like, they just like screwed up their window for the wrong target. Um, we made one mistake that didn't help because we didn't get a thin one extra card. But to be fair, they probably should have won if they knew what they were doing. So if you want a good, I guess emulation of how the matchup plays out, I think you probably should pencil this as a game one win for them. If you want more realistic data against a more experienced pilot, right? So Jack, have you played with Artisan yet? Yo, you don't know what you're missing out. This might be the best two drop in Legacy. It's that or Oracle, I think. Sure. So we have the nice like 1-2 here, right? Like Reclaimer with Endurance backup. You need the deck to win a PT Mythic Championship first before I consider it. I mean, it kind of already did, right? All right, game is already over. Drawing that Grister is actually not great for us because they can reanimate it. It makes things a little awkward. See what they do here. Good old ramp. That's interesting. And awkward, to say the least. I think we just do it now. Fiending Go is good. Best two drop in Legacy. Best two drop in Legacy. The reason why I did that is because of the Grist in hand. I normally would bluff it still. Actually, we can like get further value if we hit the animate dead here. I think I want to do that. Thank you for the follow, Harry. Nice Legacy Pit run, by the way. I think it's the same Harry because I ran into a Maverick player a few times. And I saw Maverick do like, decently well at the Legacy Pit Open. What do we do? It's a little bit awkward because I can't like hold up endurance. I think I just pass. Just like keep all my options there. I think the game is over next turn. I don't think they can beat this hand. In one turn, that is. Right. There's really no need to like do anything here. All right, we respond to that. And now they're dead. Yeah. All right. We'll see if I can, make sure we don't accidentally lose the reanimator. I like to joke, but it's not really a joke because I think that's mostly true that this is like one of our best matchups. Yeah, you'll lose game one, but like, it's you have so much hate like post board. Like the stuff that we're strong at post board happens to line up very well against them. Namely, we want C's anyways. We want endurance anyways. It's just like 8 cards right there that are like very good in the matchup. Only for tonight, Corridor. The reasoning being is because I want to try the second trap. I've been losing to like Rite of Flame decks. This is like reasonable, I guess. It's like a little bit vulnerable though. Sure. It's hard because you don't want to just mold to 2 pieces of hate. Like, you're unlikely to have it, I think. And if they just have the turn one, Jesus. Like, it is what it is. It looks like that's what they have. I think they get Gristlebrand here. Why they didn't get that in game one is just beyond me. Like, that's... Yeah, like, there's nothing I can do here aside from having ley line, right? Like Force of Will doesn't do anything, it just doesn't matter. And for all intents and purposes, Endurance is Force of Will in this matchup. Caracas one time. Nope. Reclaimer is interesting though. Yeah, like, I mean, if they have the nuts, they have the nuts. Like, we just live with it. That's like maybe 30% of the time. We'll just take the other 60%. There's an argument to be made there to take the Cradle, but I feel like in case we whiff here, like we can at least get the Karagas. It's probably too slow, like given that they had the turn one, like on the play with protection. I think the only thing that wins there, not wins, but the only thing we could have done was just have a ley line right in hand. Obviously, the Shepherd would have been potentially a ley line because we would have been able to bring it in, and that's the next card coming out. But I think you just live with it, right? Sometimes you just have it. I think now we're just drawing dead. Alright, now we're dead. Alright, that's okay. Sometimes they have it. Like, it does happen. I think if I were to weigh the matchup, I'd probably have it at 60-40 us. Again, like, doesn't matter if you have Force of Will or not. Like, that, no, Force of Will is not beating that hand regardless. And Endurance is essentially Force of Will anyways. I don't love 2 once, but I think I keep. It's like kind of a weak hand, to be honest. Possible I mold this hand because there's no ramp. What? We haven't really drawn. Well, we have. I guess we drew ramp last game. We just didn't get a turn before doing anything, right? And I think outside of Leyline or double Endurance, we're not beating that hand that they had. Looks like an artifact deck. I think it's the hammer deck or white painter. It's one or the other. Ooh, that's an awful draw. They could have ways. I'm just not going to play around it because of the Gris. Okay, so it is hammer. Oh my god, they do have a waste. Oh, they should have wasted us. Maybe they try to hit the Cradle. We can take down the Pure Steel Paladin here. Might be worth it, to be honest. We can't natural order for Oof yet. I feel like we need to take this out, but because the wasteland here is gonna waste us, and then we're gonna be like set back and we can't art. Well, we can. Does the legacy version of Hammer play blacksmiths? I have no idea. It's like I've rarely run into this deck. I don't consider this a real deck for what it's worth. For legacy, obviously a very great modern deck. I think we actually do it. Exile. All right, we're playing against. What did they get? Hammer of Nazan? I don't even know what that does. Sure. It's like a Sigartha's Aid. Halo Radiate. Yeah, we're playing against nonsense here, but. So, such is life, right? plus. Oh, that collector would look nice right now. I think win or lose, I don't really put any weight into this matchup. They're probably gonna kill the Grizz. Actually, what? They didn't even do that. That is interesting. Is there any advantage to Reclaimer and Glimpse build? I think Artisan is just better than Glimpse. And most people, I think, who follow me are just pretty much all in with me as well, an Artisan. So I think it's pretty much Netto or Fiend. And I think, honestly, Netto is not a real card. Nice. Alright, how do we want to do this? I think we're gonna pump plus again. I think ramp. I think the line here is we're gonna try to Once Upon a Time for Cradle and just hit them for a lot. Because I feel like the Reclaimer's not gonna be fast enough. If I try to go for the Cradle line that way. Colossus Hammer, sure. Oh god. Sure. Now we have to block, I guess. Shit, that's like kind of insane. So I think we have to block one more. We're probably just dead. Yeah. All right, we can probably just concede. There's no out here. Double Wasteland was kind of brutal. We needed them to not have the second Wasteland there. I think it's fine. We can probably board that out. Endurance doesn't do anything here. Endurance blocks, I guess, the flyer, but it's not really what's scaring us, I think. This is fine. Alright, what? Getting a Wirewood. If they have STP, then the Wirewood gets significantly worse. I think we get the Artisan. We could go for turn 2 natural order, but if they have STP, the hand is just so much worse. I'd rather just have a better hand, like in general, right? They could very well have STP here. I don't know their list. Oh yeah, I probably should have boarded Vast Vandal. That's a good question. Good thing I didn't. Again, like I haven't played this matchup too many times, but you are right. I think this matchup should be very favorable, but you never know. I guess they're leaving it white. Something is going on. I think they're leaving the STP for the Artisan. I think what we do here, we're expecting a Swords to Plowshares, so I'm gonna get a Visionary. And if they want to like waste their thing on one of the things we don't care about, they don't care. Yeah, see, I don't. Yeah, I don't think we care. One thing about Mass Vandal is it's not easy to turn on though, for what it's worth. Sure. Wait, how did? Okay, because of the Pure Steel's Paladin, I guess. This is super obnoxious. Jesus. Hmm. I guess I have to kill that now. I could Mass Vandal and kill this, like, or I can like Gris. We don't have lethal, unfortunately, at the moment. You need to kill the paladin too. Probably. Well, you don't have. Oh, that's true. It's so strong. Do they have? This is so obnoxious. And we're one man short. Actually, I effed up. Yeah, I could get natural order for Prague. That is a thing. One, two. I screwed up though because well actually so I could have Green Sun for two, right? Because and then that gives me what three mana here. Okay, I'm still short, I guess. So I was short regardless. Okay, natural order for Prague. That's one way to deal with the to deal with that. Yeah, I think we do that. Oh my god. Okay, I guess we just lose. That is. We were one short. What I wanted to get was Collector Oof plus Gris, but that didn't work. We're one short no matter what. So 13. Jeez, they have exactly. Well, they have a little bit more than exactly. Now we're just dead. All right, whatever. The problem with also the time I play, which is unfortunate, is I run into a lot of just not real decks. Like that is one problem with this time zone that I play in for leagues. I think it's very good too. They just like drew better than I did for what it's worth. That's fair. That's fair. All right, we're dead. I think this matchup is very good. I just they just have it. Like it is what it is, right? Yeah. So like, I find out like Pacific time around 9 p.m. is like where you just see all the turn one decks coming out. And if you play like Delver during that time, you just like get a farm all these decks, right? Unfortunately, this matchup I think is fine. We just didn't draw well. I'm like tempted to like drop because I just don't want to be in this bracket. It's like wasting my time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So everybody knows that there's a certain time slot where just like all the crazy decks come out of the woodworks. Yeah, it sounds like everybody is well aware of what I'm referring to, where just all the crazy decks coming out of the woodworks. Jesus. All right. I guess the symbiote. Actually, I should have led with the Basagian. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Now I'm priced into doing this line. I think it's good. I think it's good. I don't know what the correct number is, but I do think it's good. I feel like two is probably correct. There is a small chance three could be correct, but I haven't tried it. There's also nothing better. I just want to play the most broken cards like I can. Like nothing fair essentially. Oh shit, we're gonna get punished. It's gonna be turn one moon. Hey Janky Ho. Good games. Oh, we got punished. What did we put back? Oh, I think we put it at hoof, but I could be wrong. The one time I don't play it safe and I don't lead with Force and Reclaimer, I get punished. Just pretty brutal. I think in hindsight, probably correct to just lead with. What? Might have been better. Yeah, I probably should have done that. Now I just lose. Yeah, that would be reasonable, Jason. The good thing is I'm not like super invested in this league, given that we're 1-2 already. I think the bigger thing is just to learn, right? Like I stopped caring a long time ago about like league performances, and I think it's actually been for the best, right? All the innovations have been ever since I put more focus on actually iterating the deck and trying to win. I mean, obviously, if you can win, that's good, but like that's not the number one priority in a league. Obviously, if you play a competitive setting, then yes, it becomes the priority. But okay, we're dead here. All right, we do have the sideboard. This actually has text too, which is nice. Uh, Take out the agent. Take out the bog. Take out probably the Caracas. I like having one symbiote in case I need to bounce the Vandal. Yeah, I actually think the Epic Gamble is one of the best decks in the format. I think keep. We could just like cheese a win here. We like spin out the collective, right? I think we take the land for sure. And then yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Maybe we just cheese a free win here, right? I think they might have Fury in hand. I want to play it safe and just like lead with Visionary. You want to Fury that, that's fine. And then we Artisan next turn, and then we Natural Order following turn. Like they're this is must sweep for them right here, right? This is like Natural Order configuration. If they have it, they have it, but sure. Interesting. It's gonna be tough. Ideally, we draw another land. Oh, like basic forest would be pretty sweet here. Oh, we drew the worst possible card. I'm gonna hedge here and not play the arbor. Like that would have been a really patient Fury, right? I have two creatures on board already, but maybe they Fury here. I didn't play arbor because I feel like they could have Fury, Jeff. I mean, if they had it, they would have done it now. I feel. So now, yes, it is crazy. Lunar 88. I'm just gonna do that and then see. If they top decked it, then kudos to them. I think if they had it, they would have played it last turn. There's a lot of bluffing in this matchup, by the way. Correct. There are some players that are just doing things at random, and there's no guessing what they're up to because they just do not do anything that makes sense. There is that. God. All right. That I don't get it, but super punished. I actually find like the inexperienced players the most difficult to play against because like the lines don't make any sense, right? Like they could have died to natural order. Like it's kind of insane to me that they didn't do it before. I guess they couldn't do it because of the Chromox, but still. I think the big takeaway is if they don't have the confluence, I should have played the arbor, and I would have had the natural order. So this game is on me. Yeah, I think the misplay was definitely on me. I should have probably just played the land once they didn't sweep the collector oof plus the visionary. So I think I win this game with the natural order a turn early if that didn't happen. All right. Good thing to learn. All right, I'm done with this league. Well, I guess I could have play points, but I actually don't think I care about that. We're gonna run into a 1-3 mirror, and I'd rather not play that matchup. I think we run it back. To be honest, I think I'm pretty happy that we learned something. Uh, I'd rather learn something here than like in the middle of a event actually with higher stakes. We're playing against the Elf Mirror. We're on the draw and our hand is kind of slow. They're on the Nettle build. Um, Honestly, this matchup is dictated often by who's going first, and we are not going first, and we don't have any ramps, so I think we got to mull. Ugh. I mean, it depends on your definition. I think we have the mull again. Like that's not good. You're gonna get it done. This might though. Actually, hold on. No grist, no. Yeah, I think we do this. What else can you do to go to do to what else can you do to go in on the combo other than to have it? You can play like opposition agent and they have a hand that like doesn't line up well. Like there's that. I think you take the land here. The question is, do we like turn one artisan? So if we go turn one artisan, it's still not fast enough to do agent on turn two. Let me see. Artisan on turn one. We have the forest out. We play the reclaimer. 2 mana. Yeah, that doesn't work. It's free because of the cradle. No, the reclaimer ramps too. That's why everything is free because of the cradle. It could work. I think the problem with the Nettle build is it's slower than Dark Ritual decks, but not as good at grinding as our deck. So it's kind of caught in no man's land, right? I am gonna activate it though. Like I'm gonna get the arbor. So if they don't kill us here, we're good. Well, not good, but like, all right, we're probably dead. That's the problem with being on the draw, right? In this matchup. A card we could play is like Spirit of the Labyrinth. Like it helps against the Glimpse of Nature and Doomsday, but I'm not sure we're there. Guess they found the matchup where Nettle. I'm not even sure I buy that to be honest, Jason. Like I think we win this game if we're on the play. And my record actually against this deck is actually pretty high. Granted, maybe I'm just outplaying my opponent because they don't know the matchup, but in general, I think whoever goes first is really what matters. Like if it, I would also say before Artisan, maybe it's like 47-53, like their favorite. But I think the fact that we can play like Plague Engineer or Opposition Agent is a big deal too. Netto is definitely not better than Lance. Like they have Sphere of Resistance. I think that used to be true, Jeff. But I think Fiend Artisan also changes like a lot, right? Because if you play a Plague Engineer, it's a nightmare now, literally for our opponent, and you have it like pretty much every game too. Like there's a lot of talk about like Delver. They can play like put change two sideboard cards and they have a favorable matchup against XYZ deck. Um, like here, literally, we can play one Plague Engineer. Suddenly, the matchup is like pretty lopsided in our favor. If I care to, right? But the thing is, I don't actually expect the Netto build to go deep into a tournament. Is the thing too, right? Like I don't even hedge for it because I don't think it's gonna make out of the early rounds. Yeah, black is pretty steep. All right, we're dead. The other thing is because the combo portion is so takes up so many slots. Like it's hard for the deck to get better, like going forward too. That's the other part, right? All right. What are we doing here? I think Snuff Out is really good. I think Thoughtseize is really good. Yeah, I'm just playing for fun, Jeff. Don't read too much into it. I think this is like reasonable. Sure. Normally, I like to lead with Thoughtseize in most combo matchups. I think when we're on the play in the mirror, that's the exception to the rule. Actually, here we can actually Reclaimer plus C's is depends if we think it's worth it. I feel like it is because yeah, I think it is. Because we know we're gonna Reclaimer for Cradle next turn, so I think we want to. It's not. It's we might as well do it now. Okay, their hand is pretty bad. Marwood's slow here since they don't have mana. I think I think maybe the only thing we're afraid of here. They revealed a Baseju. I think like are they gonna be able to hoof in a while? Probably not. I think I take that. If they leave with, I'm hoping they leave with Arbor here. Oh my god, that's like a wet dream, right? I don't care actually. Sure. I really hope they miss the land drop and then I can hit the Arbor here. That's just like probably game over. Yeah, they usually pay 19. It's like pretty sketchy, if you ask me. That's might be just be game over. We just have to hit a payoff now, but we'll see. So the ESG would have been either a Query Ranger or a Cradle. I don't think either would have really mattered here. If anything, the ESG probably accelerates a turn. We just need to hit a natural order top deck, and then we're good to go. I think. If you know, and actually, like, there's a lot of live draws. Sure. Do they have a land drop? Yeah. Okay, they drew the Cradle. Oh, that's bad for us. Oh man, that's bad. It's gonna get Heritage Druid. I don't think so. Wally is my personal. I think the deck is like straight up bad. Like if I'm being honest, like the win rate at Legacy Pit was like 40% compared to Artisan, which was like over 63%. No, I think they want to cast Hoof next turn is the thing, Jeff. Right? Like their hand is known. So they have lethal next turn, so we're probably dead. Uh, there is a chance I should have taken hoof, but their hand was like mana light, and because they had double sentinel, I guess the only thing I was afraid of was like them having the heritage druid. But I guess there's a good chance they draw double elf too, right? If they do, if one of them is a, if they either have a green sun for a heritage druid or not. The cradle here was the big top deck for them. So was a green sun. All right, it's now or never. I think we're probably just dead. We need to draw natural order right now. That's not the worst. Take the hoof. Do that. But then we could just be dead to their attacks here, right? It's a lot of damage. What is the L shot at this point? Just Shepherd and Shepherd is actually low key pretty bad in the deck, in my personal opinion. I think it's just Cradle, Reclaimer, Once Upon a Time, like pretty flexible cards. Green Sun, Natural Order, that's like the core in my opinion. Did they just top deck a Visionary off the top? I think they did. Oof. Alright, that's bad. Yeah, I would say we share a lot in common with Naya Depths and even Maverick to an extent. Well, I don't think mana is their constraint at this moment, so I get if they're just kind of like going through the motions. Uh, so here they're gonna bounce, untap, put pressure on us by attacking with 15 damage. Right? They're gonna pump, untap the heritage with a ranger. We have to block one. I think we're drawing dead now though. There's no more out. I think we're just dead, Loomer. Yeah. Needed to draw better off the initial disruption. I think an artisan would have been nice. I think a obviously natural. Or I think those or green sun. Any of those cards would have been good. Um, but yeah, I think like if you think you could run into this deck like early in the tournament, you play like a plague engine in the sideboard, and they have a really hard time beating it. If you don't think this is a real deck, then you just like ignore it, right? You just don't even play the plague engineer, which I'm not. I mean, it's. I think one thing that is nice about a linear list is it's easier to pick up and learn kind of like how to play the deck. I think once you do that though, is one of the strengths of elves is you get to play a combo deck that they have to respect, but at the same time, you can build it like a mid range deck, right? Like you have all these like I wins, so to speak. Like opposition age is nice for like combo mirrors. Um, Obviously, you care enough. You play like a plague engineer or whatnot, but I personally just don't respect the matchup. I think this is good. Keep. Yeah, I mean that's. I think we're saying the same thing, right? Like you have like these because of Green Sun Zenith and now Fiend Artisan, you get to play these silver bullets that just like KO certain decks. I think one of the reasons why elves can beat 8 cast pretty consistently is for that exact reason, right? Like the ability to just like tutor up pretty much collective every game is very difficult for them to beat. Like they only have so many forces. All right, we're gonna play it safe here and get the land. And given the context, not context, given the construction of our hand, we just ramp here, right? We have like 2 and 3 drops. Obviously, like if this was a glimpse of nature, this hand is just so much worse. This is a good illustration of why Fiend Artisan is so much better than glimpse of nature. Like glimpse of nature, this hand is like suddenly a mole, right? I think the play here is artisan into artisan, but we'll see. They could daze, and I think I would want to run out the cradle just in case they do. If they have 2 removal spells, then we live with it. They could force the artisan. So if they do that, ideally we draw like a 1 drop, right? So we can play it off the cradle as well. We could. I would rather not do that, but it is an option. But we could do that. It's definitely an option. I've been burned before, by the way, just by not playing the cradle with endurance in hand. And there are certain times where it's worth it to pitch the endurance to pay for days, right? Like, and I definitely have been burned by not doing that before. So I think for our opponent, an ideal game plan against, especially this version of the deck, is when are we debuting depths in this? Oh, we did. We already did. Wally, we got to make a 2020 last week, but I don't think we need it at the moment. But I mean, easy for me to say we did lose like pretty badly first league. They're gonna attack, or they should. I mean, there is the threat we may actually block. So I mean, depends on their hand too, right? The texture of their hand. That's probably the best way I can explain it. 1 drop here would be nice. I like that you're calling it Artisan control over elves. It's evolved. It's like how Red Prison turned into Red Aggro. Sure. Do you think you need to commit harder to the scheme? What do you mean by that, Wally? All right. Here's the Artisan. Let's see what they do. I mean, you call it elves. It's just like not your traditional elves list. I think is the only thing. I thought about that, by the way, Wally. Not gonna lie. I don't think we're quite there yet because Hexmage is kind of a bad card, right? Double black is hard to get. I saw a funny joke. Somebody call it no elves, right? natural order elves, but there's a pun on there's no more elves in the deck. I mean, you could do that with a new what is it called? Toxicrene. Let's see what they do here. Oh, okay. So they do have two bolts, which is okay. I think that's fine. Goes bigger, less wide, but in a more toolboxy way. Sure. You can put Magus in and tutor versus Honorable. He won't float mana. Yeah, Magus is definitely something that's been brought up to me. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but it's definitely like up our sleeve, so to speak, right? If we ever need it. All right, let's see what they do here. Double bolt there was pretty good. A shepherd here would be nice to force the endurance through. I think what I like here is like an endurance is a must force anyway, so there's no reason to green sun for there's no reason to green sun for Elsewhere Shepherd, right? Like everything is a must force. I don't think the one damage matters. I think I want to do it on their turn. True, but they have mana up, so I think I'm gonna do it now. There's an argument to be made to do it on after the draw step, but I don't want them to actually draw into exactly what they need. Yeah, I can see that. We could artisan up shoulder. That's pretty funny. Or we can just artisan up at Zero the Lab. To be honest, like we're only playing two visionary, and honestly, we can even go to one. I think we can. That might be a brazen borrower. Naya, I hey Francisco. I do think that it's yeah. Okay, now it's over. I think you're right. So for those who don't know, I love when Francisco is on our chat because he's the for those who don't know he's the inventor of I guess green white reclaimer in modern, and I went to him among other people. I guess there was a few people I talked to, but when I qualified for the showcase, sorry, not the showcase, the after for the Mox Championship, right? Excuse me. That's the deck I picked up, and actually I had a lot of fun. So I think if you're a reclaimer gamer, definitely I think Francisco is a good follow. You, Francisco can post his Twitter here. Otherwise, I can post it in a little bit. But uh, I think his style of decks I enjoy. Uh, do I board everything out? I think I did. Yeah. Some people like to board in Leyline. I think it's perhaps. I think if you are desperate, then it's worth it. I don't think the matchup is at a point where we need to like, try to cheese a win, so to speak, with Leyline. Yeah, I saw. So I think Francisco went 6-2 if I recall correctly. But yeah, I definitely would probably enjoy that style deck for sure. I think if you want, I think Francisco. The funny thing is, I think you would enjoy this deck too because you have there's less like elf specific I guess techniques or slash plays that you need to know now. Like I think a generically good player can pick up this deck and do well now because it's really like I don't even know how what to call this. Like it's really a prison deck what it is with a combo finish. Yeah, Levi top eight is shout out to Levi by the way. I thought that matchup is great. So Mike, his list is a little bit higher on the curve. I think that might be it. Yeah, one and two is not the worst, right? Like, but yeah, I think Francisco, you would probably enjoy this deck. I think because Francisco also runs a lot of toolbox type green decks. He plays a lot of amulet. Yeah, yeah. Yorion definitely not doing too hot against most green decks. I think this is like pretty good. I think got both my seventh edition Llanowar elves here. Yeah, so the thing is, Uro lines up really, really poorly at the moment, in my opinion, against green decks because of Reclaimer and because of Endurance. So I guess there's some, semblance of a checks and balances system, right? I know if he were here, Jonathan Zhang would be very proud right now. Yeah, Pop is pretty good against the land-based strategies. Like it does like gotta be at least 10 to 12 against posts and those kind of decks. I am happy for Levi though. That was his first qualification for the showcase, and I think he is one of the best players around. How do you feel about GNT matchup with the 75? I think like it's probably I have it in my metagame update that the matchup is now no longer very favorable. It's only slightly favorable. But I think that's been the case for a while, even before the changes to this Fiend Artisan build. If anything, the changes to the Fiend Artisan build actually helps. Because Spirit of the Labyrinth is kind of sketch now against elves, right? Like, it can be okay, but like, a lot of times Spirit doesn't do anything anymore against us. But we are a little bit softer to, like, Cage, if they have that, for instance. Which some people still play Saga, right? You're not trying to combo, you're playing long game turn one. Yeah, so Feel the Dead is a card that I've been asked a lot uh, because this is a Reclaimer deck. Uh, However, unfortunately, we don't have the mana base to support it. I think here. Oops, wrong one. If they daze, oh my god, we get full value with the Spirit guy. Yeah, I think knowing what the deck does well is a pretty big thing, Curtis or Francisco. So on that topic, something to that I got a question about when I was brought on Michael Mapson and Billy Mitchell's podcast, the Dark Depths podcast, was how do I differentiate that I'm winning in spite of the new additions or because of it? I think something I like to keep in mind is like, oh, did my opponent misplay, right? Like that's one of the key, and not even misplay. Let's just say they played pretty well. I mean, you just played exceptionally well, for instance, right? That's like something to keep in mind. Double Delver start. Interesting. I feel like we're gonna walk into end of the festivities here, but if they have it, they have it. I don't think we. Our hand is not. We don't have a very flexible hand, unfortunately, at the moment. Flooding out a little bit. I get the feeling they have like either rough tumble or end the festivities though, but I don't know for sure. Oh, I know all about that, Francisco. When I cut Neto Sendo, what seems like forever now, right? Like almost 3 years ago. The pushback, the blowback I got was just like unreal, and even like recently, the pushback I got for cutting Glitter Nature was pretty big, but not as big as it was before, I guess, right? Do we have to Baseju them? I think the thing is like they have a 50% chance of doing it anyways, but that's like a reasonable idea, Jason. Well, we didn't even have the Baseju, right? Like we're short on. Oh, I guess we do with the Spirit guy, but man, I feel that would feel so bad. But maybe we have to do it. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like people don't like cards that they used to do well with. Getting cut from the list. We are under some pressure with this pretty lackluster hand. It's actually not for days at all, but it happens to be good against days. It's really for the Moon Stomping matchup, which, like, we have a hard time beating their super aggressive mulligans to turn one Blood Moon slash turn one Trinisphere, and that's the real reason for this card. Yes, for sure, Francisco. Yeah, I think there's a lot of boomers that just don't want to change, right? Like, they still want to play, Lingering Souls, for instance. It's not good. I think we're gonna lose. Mm, we could play this, I guess. The Spirit Guide might actually be better. Yeah, I think the correct play might have been to play the Spirit Guide. So if we draw Elsword Shepherd, we have lethal anyways. But I feel like we're just gonna be dead regardless. But we'll see. I have hardcasted it a few times. It's pretty poggers for sure. The Trinisphere is in the house. Turn one Trinisphere is in the house. That is actually the card that I am most afraid of. From the one. Okay, there is that. All right, so we did sniff out the rough tumble, but it's probably too late. I think we just I don't know bog them here. I guess I don't know. Like we don't have any great play really. I guess we could Beseju and keep the Reclaimer, but I don't even know if that's like a winning line. We could, but we lose the land, right? Like I think that's a thing too, right? I don't. But no, I think you're right. Actually, the Reclaimer for the Cradle, yeah, I missed that because what ends up happening is you plus one to the Cradle anyway. So I think that's right. So misplay on my behalf. Not playing very tight there. I could have. I just didn't bother to do it. You guys are absolutely right. I was just getting lazy, if I'm being honest. Like half autopiloting almost. No, for sure, Francisco. That was misplay on my behalf because I was getting a little. Actually, I should. They have four, so I guess it doesn't matter. Well, I don't know what they drew. Probably should have main phased the endurance there. It will clearly. Maybe they don't have it. I don't know. All right, I don't know if they top decked or not, but like, I'm just all around playing really sloppy right now. Yeah, I made a litany of errors there. I just zoning out here for a second. I think so too, Bonjar. I think what makes the most sense is what do they have? We know they didn't top deck the Del. Well, we know they didn't top deck the Force because they would have played the Delver. Now they played. Okay, what did they play the previous turn? They played a Volcanic and Rough. So I think they probably did top deck the Wasteland, and no harm was done, right, so to speak. I also think they probably top, but you never know now. The Reclaimer living doesn't actually matter against that kind of hand, right? This is also why I hate Leyline. Like sometimes they just have the Delver hand. I just don't think you need to do that kind of stuff against Delver when you should be pretty favored. Now, if you don't feel like you're favored, then that's a different story, right? Like then I would advocate for it. The more you think you need to cheese a win, the more I would lobby for like high variant plays or variance plays. The more likely you think you are not to lose, then I would play it safe. And this applies from a macro or micro standpoint, right? Whether it's like metagame or like decision in game decisions. If you enjoy my social, I mean not social, my content, hear my socials again. Get the icing. It was in the middle of the game. You knew. All right. Keep. This is quite the hand, actually. Obviously missing a Cradle, but everything else is pretty solid. Do you feel like this version of the deck lacks a bit in the card aspect? Yes and no. I think for the most part, no. But some against like a control deck, then maybe like a little bit. But in general, the idea against control is you overflood them with must answer threats, anyways. So a lot of people have made that joke. I don't think I'm cutting Reclaimer ever unless it's getting banned. So I get that question a lot too, Loomer 88. The answer is yes because the Visionary is like pretty bad, I think. But the whole point of Water was to protect your elves, so I still think it's very good. Also, Water would allow some really nice plays with Artisan with Mass Vandal as well. Also, it's a one drop, right? Like which matters a lot. There's an argument here to snuff this out. I think probably that's correct. And then we go Shepherd into Artisan and hope they don't have a sweeper. Actually, that's even better. This plays around end of festivities. I'm just gonna cast it now while I can. If they have rough tumble, then it's gonna be rough. But what can you do? Now we have two must answer threats here on the board. Clasm we probably lose, but I don't think there's a way to play around that with his hand at the moment. Like we didn't have the endurance hand, and I think given that we don't have any more land draws, we have to snuff out the Delver there. Given that they play Delver's Secrets, I don't think they actually have Clasm. I think what's more likely is Rough Tumble. If they didn't have Delver, then Clasm is possible. But they're essentially the same against us, right? We just have to pray now that they don't have it. Oh my god, they do. Jesus. I don't know why the slow roll on that. Like, actually, I think we do this. We're probably dead now with that Clasm. The what I was playing around is actually single removal because yeah, there's an argument to not playing both, but the thing is like I feel like they definitely have my argument for that for playing both is I feel like there's a good chance they have either force or what is it called? A removal spell, right? And I want to untap with at least either Reclaimer or Artisan. Because I feel like we would win if either untaps, right? Like we're playing around the single removal spell from my perspective at least. But I don't know. Like people do weird things is the problem. Like just because they play Delver's Secrets, you can't always assume that means they have the sweeper because some people just do it anyways because they don't know any better. That they're supposed to bolt the bird. Yeah, there that would be the other logic for sure, Francisco. I feel like we do because like they if we have to fetch Bayou. Well, I guess we can wait. There's that. There definitely some merits for waiting on the snuff out there. We lose the days, but I think that's probably okay if they do go for that line. So I think you're right. I think if they do days, we're okay with that. Oops. So I do agree with that, Francisco. I think we take the Artisan here. Now, if they days, they don't class them. Yeah, for sure. So I definitely agree with that, Francisco. You're right. Live and learn. Live and learn. So more reason for you to be on this deck, right, Francisco? More reason. I think I'm gonna F6. They know our hand already from the once, so there's really no need to you know to not yield, I guess. Yikes. These are the type of hands that are actually difficult to beat, in my opinion. The I'm gonna you know play all my threats like and not have any like removal hands. Oh, I guess they have the one pyroclasm, I guess, or equivalent. Green Sun or Endurance would be really good here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not getting there. There's no need to. What I should have done was probably tap the Arbor and keep black up because that could mean a couple different things. I think we've already lost though. Okay, we now we did. Let's concede. Actually, cancel. I will use. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I don't know if like our opponent even like yeah. It is, but it's okay. I'm gonna use a restroom, I'll be right back. So I'm back. I think we'll go ahead and drop from this league because again, I don't want to be in the O2 bracket and I have play points to spare, so I'd rather just like make the best of our time. I do think we did learn something from that league. I think the transformation would have been bad. And I think the mall is likely better as a third removal spell. You mean you can like artisan for it too, I guess. Where is it? Something I want to also address is the Caracas is not particularly good. Um, for a while, I wanted to play. What is it called? Like maybe we just. This is like the toughest spot, right? It's like, do we try to address the one weakness of the deck or not? And then something I kind of like doing, perhaps, is maybe playing one Remnant Excavator and then one Cabal Pit, right? Granted, we would have to change our mana base a little bit. I don't love that. A card that I have been thinking about as well is Marin of what's it called? It. I think this card is kind of cool. One second. Marin of what the hell? Marin of Clan Neltoff. Yeah, I saw that in like Koiki's like knit fit deck. I think that card is like kind of interesting with Shriek Maw, and it could be the end game that we want. I don't know, like personally, but it's like interesting enough, right? Maybe we can do that for fun here, for funsies. We would lose Snuff Out, which is a big deal. Spirit Spirit Guide is and just have this like recursive engine, so to speak, against Delver, right? I don't love that Snuff Out is like kind of awkward against Delver. But let me see. We can okay, we can do it. We can try. I'm gonna go ahead and like put my be right back screen as I transfer the cards I need over. Also, please type in the chat if there's something else you want me to try. All right. It's kind of an interesting card. So the question I get asked sometimes is like, why do you play more Grist instead of Shriekmaw? It's because Grist actually costs us a creature if we want to tick down and kill a creature. The other thing is like Marin would give us another viable creature that we can, board in. I don't love that Caracas is in the deck post board, so that is like a thing. All right, we will try. One second, I'm making the trade right now. Whether it's actually good or not, I have no idea, but it seems interesting enough at least. The other one would be Ramanat Excavator. That's like a thing too. I feel like the recurable removal is like worth more though. At least against Delver. I don't know if we need more lands, but maybe. They've been declined. Alright, one second. I think Marin is definitely the more fun card, so maybe that's the go-to, right? Why do they have only this version? I guess that's the only version. Huh. Okay, who would have thunk? This card is like on the rise. So what is going on? Interesting. What am I doing? Ramanat. Maybe Ramanat's the answer. Maybe. We'll see what the group consensus here is. All right, I will now show my screen again. Now that I just made all those acquisitions, so to speak. Here is okay, I missed your question earlier, Francisco. I have not tried pre-modern, but I know a little bit about it because some of the guys from my store like to play it a lot. And I know Survival Elves is like one of the best decks, so there is that like interest too. And I do own Survival of the Fittest, so that is another draw. All right, where is the card? I spent 6 ticks on this, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Where did it go? So, what do you think, chat? Should we go with Marin or should we go with Ramanat? I went ahead and moved both. I actually had to purchase this. I feel like it's kind of cool against Delver, right? I actually don't like Grist personally against Delver because like the hands I'm scared of are the hands I'm scared of are the ones with like double Delver starts now. Like I'm actually not that scared of Murktide region anymore because that's just not how the games play out anymore. Um, this is like kind of fun, I guess, right? Like if we do that. Ramen the problem is I don't actually know if it actually solves anything against Delver. Price of I love it. So I have another account where I move all everything else, right? So it doesn't like detract, so to speak. I should have actually moved this. This would have been bad in theory. All right, where are we? I think we could. I think the mana base is fine, and then maybe this is where we're at. And then we just like concede Rite of Flame, right? Maybe that's the line. How was Merit in Silver and Plug, Romario? So I would defer here to Silver and Plug Master, Romario. Do you think Marin would be better than Ramanat? Okay, so I think this is what I'm going for, right? Recursive Shriek Malls, and just like line that up against Delver. All right, we'll try it just for funsies. Just for funsies. It's funny too because I got invited to the I think they call it Heritage tournament, like, and I could have done the really lame thing, just play oops all spells because they didn't really lose any main deck cards. But I feel like being invited to that kind of event is kind of an honor, and I feel like it's kind of defeats the purpose, right? Like if you want to play. So for those who don't know, this Heritage event is gonna happen next Saturday with Honorog and Mason Clark doing the coverage, but it has essentially all the cards that are legal are the ones that have gone through standard. So like looking at our deck, there's gonna be some huge holes to fill if we do play elves, right? Notably, the best card that we lose is probably, in my opinion, uh, Endurance, like and Gris. I think Shepherd we can actually live without. But I think the big losses are Endurance and Gris. Opposition Agent and Collector Oof are bombs too that we lose. So the initial phase one is like, okay, do I play Delver and just like water down the threat base, or do I play like Oops off spells which didn't lose a card? I think it would be more fun and just like not as. I guess the viewership would be more interested, right? If I try to like rebuild this, how would it look without elves? Obviously, I'm giving away like information here on stream, but that's fine. Like, if I do end up playing elves, I think it'd be cool to see how this would look like if we didn't have like Endurance, Gris, Collector Oof, Opposition Agent, all those legal. But and the first thing that actually jumped to my mind is like, oh, this card is like pretty cool, and I realized this is not legal either. So there's that. So this comes in for grindier matchups, I guess. And again, I don't love Grits because it's like bad against DRC Delver starts. Is the reason why. And this allows me to at least board out the Caracas. Granted, it is kind of good with Caracas, so hard to say, right? I think given that we have two payoffs and a visionary, or I guess 1.5 payoffs, I'm gonna go ahead and ramp. Also, when you have Artisan in hand, you just like incentivize the ramp, just like with Glimpse of Nature. I definitely did not play the best in the Delver. Not the, yeah, the game two against Delver. Game three, I think there was. I think for sure, Francisco is correct about holding the snuff out. Me, I think it's like a judgment call, right? Like I think there's definitely merit for holding back the Reclaimer. But I wanted to play around Bolt, right? That was at least the line. I think here we just like run everything out. To be honest, we're not gonna respect Brainstorm Interterminus. Hmm. All right, that's interesting actually. Let's see if they have it. It has to be Brainstorm Terminus here. And if they don't have double removal, they and it looks like they don't, right? Because one of them needs to be swords. We're on League Three. We're actually not having the best night, but I don't think that's like I'm not too focused on win record. I'm focused on more like technical gameplay, which unfortunately I have not been the sharpest, but chat has been, so that is good. Like in terms of like learning, right? Like for whoever else is watching the cast either now or later. And with that cast, I mean the stream. Okay, so they take that because they don't want to just like die, right? So not the list. No, I think the list is like we're experimenting too with Marin in the sideboard. It feels like more like a main deck card, but I haven't figured out what I want to do. Ooh. I think we're gonna do that. See first what they do. So if we do, we can get a Wirewood, and then untap. I mean, if they had swords, they definitely should have swords the artisan. Like there's like no reason not to. Oops, cancel. I think we hit the reclaimer. I could have attacked, but like it's fine. We're like miles ahead. Actually, we could have got agent, but I think that's like greedy. You hit the double there. As long as our opponent is not some kind of combo, the game is already over. That was kind of gross. All right. Anyways, I think we boarded the Marin here. That feels like that kind of matchup. We didn't see much, and I feel like, given that we didn't see much, we probably don't. We probably board for control for sure. And I think I like in the dark, endurance better than seize because it's proactive. And then we could probably maybe go down one dork. It's not a big deal. Obviously, our mapping here is a little bit off, right? Because, um, what was I gonna say? Our mapping is a little bit off because Marin to me doesn't feel like a cyborg card. Uh, Maybe that means we either I don't know. The spirit guy seemed really good right there, um, but so did the landlord werewolves. Like I think we went turn one dork, right? No, actually we went turn one green sun. So I can see cutting one dork maybe for the main deck Marin if it turns out to be good, but otherwise we'll see. I really dislike cutting dorks though. I think they're really good in this deck. I mean they're Pioneer All Star, right? Ooh, non-snow basics. I think it does. It's a little slower, and it's just like the question is, do we really need like that kind of effect? Is all. Two basics and does nothing. It feels like a sweeper is coming. Uh, please don't be a containment priest. Our hand doesn't really play around that at the moment. Like I don't like going 1-1-1 here. That just does not seem like a winning play. And I want to hit land drops next turn. Timeless dragon. Okay. More reason our endurance gets some value here. I mean, it's not really why we win or lose, but it's just like incidental value. The other thing why I like two visionaries is because like you don't have to worry about these corner case scenarios where like the one dies, right? And then you like get stuck. All right. Question here is this is why I don't even love like Shepherd, right? It's just like I don't really like wasting mana just like to protect the Wirewood here. I think we do that and see what they do. They want to force if they can. Maybe this is just a cut, right? Like just I really dislike this card. Could be a Hull Breacher. Nope. All right, that makes me feel good actually. We actually missequenced there, but not punished. We should have played the Visionary off the Caracas. That was a misplay. Never punished. I am not actually going to bounce here. I value the board presence, and we have a lot of cards in hand already. That is an insane draw. All right, now we can do what we want. Um, we could endurance here. I feel like they have Snapcaster, but who the heck knows, right? Let's see. Oh, that's even better. Wow. I really just hate drawing two of these cards. It's just so bad, in my opinion. Like, because you want to go turn one dork all the time, and just like the sequencing is just really awkward. It's obviously good against Chalice, right? Like, that's where it matters, but like, Moonstomp, I feel like that matchup's not even determined by Chalice anymore. And then, what is it called? 8 cast is like as close to a buy as you can get, right? For this matchup, for this deck. Obviously, you can still lose. I lost like the other week, but at one point I had like a 10-game winning streak or something against it. I think 8 cast is probably the best matchup for elves. I think second is debatable. Couple again between two different decks. They're both Yorion. It's like either Yorion Zenith or Yorion DNC. I think it was like probably like the second best matchup. But I think by far though 8 cast is the best. Supreme, sure. I think we're okay with that, to be honest. We still have the Gris on the board. Plus, I think here, what do we want to do? See, so that's the other thing, right? Like, I played the Shepherd because I want to protect the Gris, and I lose to a sweeper as a result. I think we want an endurance here. And then just take the Narset off the board. Hey, Frisky Business, how's it going? So they tapped out for who knows why. I actually think I like having played this game here, the Mara now, right? It's a second target to pull you even further ahead, in case the Gris gets answered somehow. Uh, I This is kind of nuts, actually. Ding, ding, ding. This is actually kind of nice. So I did it this way because I didn't want to mill the Marin by accident. What are we getting back here? The Visionary. This is a Loris that we just tutored for, right? So, well, sort of. That's awkward. Another one? In the words of DJ Khaled? I feel like that could be a shark that's coming in. I thought I saw that earlier. Yeah, we did see that. Hey, Absolute Poner, how's it going? So they make the shark here, that's fine. Uh, yeah, eventually. So I think here, if they have removal, they have removal. Otherwise, I think we're all in, I think. They could Snapcaster Supreme again, but I don't think we're winning with just a Phenhorn Elves in our hand. We did pretty poorly the first two leagues, but we learned a lot. So I think I value that more than just like going a 5-0 or whatever. I think what the big takeaway so far is, well, I think ideally we have like another. Okay, there's that. I don't think that matters. All right, time for the alt that we talked about for the Shepherd. This is when Shepherd is good now, right? Like, this is why I've been asked the question: can you play like Ignoble instead of Finor? I think this is the reason why to do what we do here, right? All right, we're gonna bash with all. If they had removal, they would have already played it, presumably. They block one and we alt down, right? As Francisco alluded to. Yeah, all right, that's pretty cool. So we're 1-0 in this league. Our two leagues so far have been not great. I think I went 1-3 into 0-2. But I think the Marin was like pretty nice, to be honest, in that matchup. And if they had removed, they'd have used it before you untap for sure. Because the problem is like then you 15 them for no reason, right? Like if you wait. So Francisco again with the heads up plays tonight. Yeah, like they didn't put any kind of pressure on us. I think Supreme verdict's good, but like not if you don't pressure your opponent, right? Like Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that's something that I really like, right? Like the with this mana base, like I want to point out that Matt Sabo he played the ninth fetch over the Karagas, which is what I had in the mana base initially. But I wanted to make room for the sideboard hate and move the Karagas main because Mince and Boo is a thing. So for those who don't get the reference, Francisco in I believe it was 2020, he and his brother had a Christmas stream where he picked up um, he picked up my list. I had 10-0 with the night before, and then played on stream with his brother, which is like super cool, I think. And then he also played, I think, red, green. I don't know what it was. It might have been some kind of Bloodbraid deck after that. But if you catch it, I don't know if it's still on Twitch or not. Definitely recommend it because it was a lot of fun because it was a Christmas Day stream. And if Francisco did it again, I will make sure to tune in. That was like one really cool thing I saw. In 2020. All right. Our I don't recognize this username from our opponent. But Marin seemed pretty good there. Like I'll be honest. I think you keep, but it's like a Moto 6 already. The second natural is pretty bad. They are very wholesome for sure. Keep. So a general rule of thumb is like, if a card will lose you the game, I don't really want to play 3 copies. It's why ESG is only 2. The difference is this card actually also wins the game. So that's why I'm at 3, even though it can lose me the game if I draw 2. Alright. If they are on 8 casts, we're going to have a field day. And I think they are. Okay, we're just going to have a field day, I guess. Our I would not mind seeing this matchup 10 times out of 10 in a tournament. It is that good. So, okay. The Magic Gods are here to punish me, right? Here I am bashing Allosaurus Shepherd, and suddenly it's like insane in this matchup, right? So, the egg yolk is on me. Let's see what they do here. Alright. Nothing relevant. They're just dead next turn. Sure. Oh, maybe it's just a cast of Cannoneer, like what they're doing. I've got to imagine that's the reason. But they are dead. Also, if your elf opponent did not return Visionary, you are in a world of trouble. Generally speaking. Alright. If for some reason. Well, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, that's how you know you're in trouble against the L player, though. If they do not return Visionary. There's an argument to be made. This should really only be 1 copy. But I'm not quite there yet. Especially if we play Marin, right? Like, that's like the grind engine we need, potentially. And like, it's like easier on our curve. And we don't have to give up dorks, which are just kind of insane in this deck. Alright, how do we sideboard here? Not even sure we need to be honest. Okay, Gris is kind of bad. And I think that's really all we do. We bring the Mass Vandal for like, recursive Stone Rain, but everything else is like kind of meh. I do like the Marin plays really, really nicely with Shriek Maw. And could be very interesting for sure. We could just submit 60 and just like roll them again. That is true, Francisco. This matchup is I've joked there's an inverse correlation between Elv success and the success of 8cast. I feel like I'm being greedy for keeping this. Man. Sure, whatever. As a collective. Question is, do we turn one play it? Probably. Like, we don't play Elvish, Spirit Guide to not turn one it, right? I think we just do it now, like YOLO. Yeah, I mean, like, why not, right? All right, they force, sure. It's 2 for 2, I guess. Why would they main phase it? I'm trying to think. Oh, okay, sure. They get the extra mana to reduce the Thoughtcast, so that makes sense. Very common misplay from chalice players, by the way, or 8cast specifically. All right, now we're getting punished. Now we are getting punished. Like, we kept the hand just because I had collective, and now we're getting punished. This actually, what was I gonna say? This match here kind of shows that Spirit Guy was not the best. Granted, we could have had turn one, but I think I would have had liked to have the extra the fourth shepherd here, right? For sure, they have been suboptimal to say the least. Can't have everything though. Spirit Guide is good against Moon Snobby, but not. Maybe we should have mold. I think we are in a lot of trouble. All right. This is what we get for keeping like a sketch hand, right? Like that otherwise was pretty bad. I don't remember the opening hand. It might have been like Waterwood 5 land, Waterwood Oof 5 lands. But we got tempted by the devil and getting punished now. I think we might have to pack it in pretty soon. It looks like a Cannoneer. They're tapping the wrong. Actually, no, they tapped this thing correctly. I think we are dead. That doesn't do anything. All right. Gotta respect our opponent more. Got to respect our opponent more. Just can't keep willy nilly hands like we did. What do we do? So the question was that just a bad keep, or probably just a bad keep, right? I think we should have posted mulligan that hand. Do we care about the other stuff? I don't think so. We just run it back, I think. Did not respect our opponent and thought they would just fold to a collector oof, and that's not what happened. I think this is a really good hand. Keep. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go turn one Bayou into Mystic, and then turn two like run out everything.
If they turn one chalice here, oof, I hate that cage. Good thing we have the Seiju though.
Hmm. So our line here is we're gonna cage them and win. I mean, but Seiju the cage and win is what I mean. They probably tap out because they think they're safe. If I were to guess. Sure. Mm. Reasonable, I guess. But not gonna matter. It's probably the worst card in our 60 at the moment. They could, I guess, in theory, have a dismember, but not playing around it. Sure. Still a lot of damage. I'm gonna grease them for 3 because that may throw them off. Never mind. They didn't get thrown off, so I'm just gonna get the collector oof here and then run everything in. And they can't dismember anymore. Oh. Okay, for some reason I thought. Okay, that's bad on me. For some reason, I thought they couldn't activate it, but that's bad on me. Do you think Saga is an artifact? No, I for some reason thought they only had 1 mana. I don't know why. It was an accident. Uh, that was a bad accident, but it is what it is. How many sagas did they have? Might have cost me the game though, unfortunately. Did not do that correctly. I thought they were down. I thought the oof shut out their last mana, but I screwed up. Hmm. Okay. If I pitch that and then bounce untap. Very awkward. Oh, I think we have lethal. No, we have lethal. They don't have enough blockers. And we have the spirit guide. We no, they yeah, it's over. I almost threw this game, but it's now the spirit guide coming in clutch here. This being a changeling is hilarious too. I wonder if we had it last turn. Actually, no, we didn't. But that's this is pretty funny though. All right, we almost threw, but we didn't. Almost pilot induced error. Incoming submerged. Thank you for the follow, Let's. They would have to have submerge, and I think given that they play dismember, probably not. Sure. It's funny every time I say, "Oh, maybe this is not good enough," then it wins the game, right? Like the shepherd, I said, "Oh, maybe I need to cut it." Wins the game through chalice. Then I said, "Oh, maybe ESG, I need to cut it." Nope, wins the game as well. Yeah, it's not super consistent, for sure. Ooh. All right, looks like it's the mirror. I think we have the artisan here. And hope if they're on our version. If they're on the Netto version, that's not great for us. But if we can get opposition agent out, we probably win. If it's the exact mirror. Like then they would be locked, right? This is the old like DNT mirror where it's like a race to GT. I think the fact that they led with Shepard means one of two things. They either don't know the match. Sorry, not don't know the matchup. They either kept they're not inexperienced and kept a slow hand, or B, they have a combo centric hand with glimpse. And the fact that they play two Wirewood, I think it's the former. Like Wirewood is not really where you want to be. We plus, we can accidentally hit. I don't think we want to be greedy. So 1, 2, 7 mana. So we can do both what we want. Hey, sure, malicious. Yeah, I don't think we want to be greedy. Thank you for the subscription, Harry. We get the opposition agent and just like not mill ourselves, and then we plus. And if it is the exact mirror, the game is probably over. Loving the support though with the subscriptions. Also, if you want my metagame update, make sure to DM me on Discord or Twitter, either way, and I'll send it to you. For those who subscribe to my for those who just subscribe today, so just make sure to DM me. It just came out. Today's Wednesday. Yesterday. Okay, so thank you for the follow, Yog. All right, we're short one. That's plus, and then now we have lethal. I mean, I've done it too. You have to be careful. Like, if you don't need to do it, don't do it. Yeah. All right. That. So we don't know what version they're on because like the cards that they played are applicable to both versions. If I were to guess, they're probably on our version and just kept a slower hand, but it's hard to say. All right, what are we gonna do? I think Seize is really good. Unfortunately, the way we built our sideboard here, we don't have the snuff outs, and maybe we don't need them, but the Shriek Malls do play really nicely with a Mirren, but maybe they should just be snuff outs anyways, because this matchup is probably not great. Gris is good if they're on the exact mirror. If they aren't on the mirror, then kind of bad. We'll hedge towards the mirror though. This is the redemption arc, hopefully, right? We had 2 bad leagues, 1-3-0-2. Again, because they're leagues, and it's not like I'm short on play points or anything. I'd rather learn something and use that towards like a big event in the future, and I think we have learned a decent amount tonight, so that's really encouraging. In our opponent's defense, if they didn't know what we were on, like, I try not to mull with elves in general too. All right, it is the mirror, which is what we expected, suspected, right? Do we thin or do we save? I think we thin. Ironically enough, I think it's the Spirit Guide. You go down a card. We can seize the same turn and Reclaimer here. I feel like, if nothing else, we want to test how that plays out. Crop. Okay, that does nothing here. And Shepherd. Also not great. I think we just take the Shepherd though. I think we exile here. I think we want Reclaimer next turn. They want to Boseiju or Cradle, they like by all means. So if I were them, like maybe you end step get arbor. You have the crop, but the crop is kind of bad, right? Like when you already have a cradle. Ooh, that is an insane draw. So we see. Let's see if they do it. I feel like they will. They should reclaimer here for arbor. Interesting. What is going on here? I can't imagine that's correct. To end step crop. Yeah, that's not right. Just a thin. Because what happens is you can use a crop for a big green sun later, and you lose that here with the line they just took. Like, I get that you're thinning, but that does not seem right. As they say, long hair don't care. So they have Baseju up. Nope, they didn't even do that. All right, I think our opponent just needs to the deck. Sure. So they would have been better off instead of attacking, just thinning out their deck and getting arbor, right? Instead of wasting the crop rotation. All right. Nevertheless. Oh my god. All right, that's gonna be a blowout. They didn't do it. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Does Ellesmere suck? Yes, but not as bad as before. I think we do it now. I don't think they probably rotate and respond. Okay, they didn't even do it. Do we have lethal here? I feel like we do. Hold on. Five, six, seven, 8. 24 damage. We're short. No, we're not. We have lethal. The opposition agent is extra. Hey, answer key aim. How's it going? Not to mention the cradle pumps it even more. So yeah, that's like more than lethal. So a question that was asked is, does the elf mirror suck? It does, because whoever goes first probably wins. But I think it is better than before. Which the before it was so mindless. I think there's like a little bit more strategy now. And what are the best things DNT players can do against you? From a macro standpoint, or from a card selection standpoint, or what? Shade 920. I'll bring up my list again. So for those of you who are spying on the elf list, here's what it looks like. I do think the Marin probably should be made if we do play it. I need to use the restroom. I'll be back. Yes, that is correct. Answer key gaming, but there is. I feel like there's more counterplay, right? Before you're literally at the whims of your opponent, but yeah, whoever gets opposition agent probably wins. Also, there are like interesting things like if you're playing the white splash like Yerg, Swords to Plowshares is ironically an answer. So there is some of that like in deck building. To answer Shade 920 question, from a macro standpoint, I think just like against elves in the past, you want to keep them off your mana. Granted, this version is a lot more resistant to mana D now because of higher land count. But if you, for instance, like don't have any disruption otherwise, I think you need to liberally solitude turn one, right? Like whatever that on the dork. Um, I think if you can get to Jite, it's probably pretty solid. I think a good elf opponent will be able to play through Peacekeeper, so don't rely on that. If you think your elf opponent is not good, you can probably get them with Peacekeeper. Or some other ones. I think Skyclave is actually really good if you can curve removal into it. I feel like we keep, but it's not great. It's like almost a mole to 5 already, but because this has to be a land and then whatever. We'll keep. What else was I gonna say? DNT. What else? Obviously, if you can get Yorion going, that's like pretty good, right? I think we have to once here and hit land. Anything else DNT you can do? I think Spirit Labyrinth is like pretty solid before. It's not as good as now. If you really want to haymaker against elves, Grafdigger's Cage is really good. But yeah, that's like, but it can be beat with Boseiju, obviously, but not what I wanted to see. Yeah, Cage is really good. And you can play Saga to find it, right? If you're running that package. I think Magus of the Moon can be pretty good, right? Because oops. Hopefully it's back. I know it like died right now the stream. Uh oh. I think we just play everything out, to be honest. Not attack. Do we attack? Probably not. Like you can get people with red white if they don't see it coming, especially if you haven't like let's just say they don't know about it. You can definitely get people with it. What are they doing? All right. We play that. Play that. Get that Fiend Artisan in here. If they have days, that'd be awful, but what can we do? This might be a must force. I mean, if they have days, they'll days it, but sure. I don't think we attack. Yeah, David last made a top 8 with. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Oh, they have the whale. Interesting. I think here we probably thin. Like we're gonna bog them here, and then get a second arbor. Actually, no. I think we want the flexibility to fetch. So I'm gonna get a fetch line here. And thin. I don't know. I played against you and I was Dark Dog on D&T. I don't know what to do. I do think it's a hard matchup, like for what's worth, Dark Dog. I think there are two ways to win against elves from the D&T perspective. I think the easiest way, and it's a little bit harder against our deck because the mana base is better. The easiest way is to mana screw them. Like wasteland them out of the game. They don't have mana. They never get off the ground. I think the second easiest way to win is to ride a GTA to the end. That one is a little bit more difficult, but if you have the all removal spell, it's possible. Um, I think you can like maybe get them with a cage, but that's like again, that's like a one or two of right at most. But I would say mana denial and fast GTA are probably the easiest ways to beat elves. Do I get greedy here? If it's a forger, then I'm gonna be mad. Maybe I'm supposed to main phase endurance here. I think we do it now, actually. The fact that they're attacking tells me they have a blocker. So it's either angler, some delve threat, or another what's it called it? Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. We bashed with all. That's one, two, three, four. One short. If we bash with all, I think we pass. So this is an interesting question. Like, do I Baseju them here? I don't think so. Sure. I think we have a game now because we have full information, and I think that's the last damage we needed. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, it's lethal now. Bash with Landlord and Reclaimer, then bounce what they block. We could do that. It's just not even necessary, right? Right. One, two, three, six, seven, eight. Actually, we're one short, but we have the natural order. They would have to have blocked the reclaimer and the endurance, and then we just like go wide. But yeah, it didn't matter. A little bit of an awkward game because we had to run the artisan into the days, but I don't think we're allowed to. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't think we're allowed to take off a turn. All right. We will see now how the Marin does in this. It's a little bit awkward because I don't really like boarding out the Caracas. And interesting enough, Caracas plays well with Marin to protect it. Bash with Lano and claim what they balance and block. Some paper only told me GTA isn't good. Just get Cauldra. Uh, I don't know. I think Cauldra is not great, especially if your opponent has Vandal. Like, I'm not that scared of Cauldra personally. Does Shriekmaw deal with Shadow? Not particularly well. It deals with like Brazen Borrow and Murktide Regent, but I don't love it. There's an argument to be made to just not board it in, and I think I that's a good reminder. I think I kind of like that. You keep the land, and maybe you keep a natural order and a hoof. It's not great though. Or you can just go low to the ground, but this is probably okay. Yeah, I actually don't love the Shriek Maw, so I think it's probably okay. This matchup was like very hard before, and then Artisan is better, makes it better because they can't target it with Snuff Out, right? I don't like Thoughtseize. It's like tempo negative, right? I just don't want to expose myself to Wasteland is a problem. Sure. They probably take the Fiend Artisan of the Green Sun here. Probably the Green Sun. They take the Fiend Artisan if they're afraid we're just gonna like ramp out, right? But yeah, so there is that. Like I don't like to thought seize against like very tempo-ish decks because you just fall behind and we're secretly a tempo deck as well, especially the new build. Sure. Like I think Cauldra is only good if you think your opponent's not gonna draw well. And this deck has a lot of gas. Ooh, that is a good draw. I think we play the Visionary. They want a daze. We have the answer. It only came up one other match before, and it was good. So this is literally the second time we've drawn it, but it was very good in the other match. So this is gonna be interesting. Ooh. They could have snuff out into force or days. Don't want that. Ah, this changes our line. Kind of wish I led with one of the other ones now, but do we play around days is the problem. I mean, I guess if they have it, right? Like, screw it. If they have it, they have it. Like I don't think we can just take a turn off. Like I don't like that at all. And hopefully get the Fiend Artisan back here. I mean, the worst case scenario, they probably have removal, and then they daze us. That's the worst case, right? But if that happens, then so be it. The Elvis Spirit got actually been pretty klutz. I mean, clutch, not klutz. Sure, they dismember that for some reason. They probably have the days then. Yikes, that's a disaster. Did they bounce? What did they bounce? Underground C, so they don't have it. That's annoying. Although they could have just dismembered the Marin though, for what it's worth. I think we just start bashing now. So let's see how this game played out. They Street Wreath. They discarded us. What did we do? We went turn one, Landlord Elves, which is still there. Turn two, Visionary, and play the Beseju because we didn't have another play. I think we bash first. Sure. All right. Very strange game. I don't know what they kept, but maybe Plague Engineer and like no lands. Okay. So to answer, Dark Dog Shade 2920. Again, I think the two decks are very different for what it's worth, and they play out very differently now. I personally don't. I'm not very scared of Cauldron. Like, if I can't do anything for 4 turns, then I deserve to lose, right? Like, the that is my logic. Like, you weren't gonna win that game anyways. Yeah, so it's like I said, you just take 3 hits if need be. Also, a fourth hit is like possible too because Reclaimer like eats up 4 damage. It's just like it doesn't do anything in my opinion for like multiple turns. Like you don't care about it actually. It only wins games you otherwise would have lost anyways, in my opinion. Oops, there's water over there. Let's see if we can finish strong. The only thing I can think of why the player would think that Cauldron is better is because it's easier to attack their mana because they just run so few lands, right? Like that they feel like they're under a lot of pressure. You attack their mana plus have a Cauldron. It's almost like turning your DNC deck into a Delver deck, which that version has a very difficult time beating. Like I think I saw the win rates. It's like in the 30%, right? Like I tried earlier a Kenris transformation, I didn't draw it, but I feel like it's pretty bad based on how the game played out. E Spirit Guides. Yeah, that's like kind of new, I guess. I mean, the only artifact removal that's around at the moment is like potentially maybe Force of Vigor. I think Boseiju on a GTA is not like great because you ramp them, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. I don't know. I don't. I'm not the least bit scared of Cauldra personally. I just feel like it doesn't like when it wins games, you would have lost those games anyways. Is my thinking on that card. Like you just take a few hits and then suddenly you natural they lose. I'll bring up the deck actually. So Marin was a must force there, and I actually think based on we only drew it 2 games, but I think it's pretty good. Uh, it's not a sideboard card. I need to find room for in the main. This seems blasphemous. Maybe that means cutting Visionary, like going down to 1. Um, I don't see other cuts besides maybe a Dork, and I do not love cutting Dorks. I think Dorks are very good in this version. The mana base is like pretty tight already. If anything, I would move the Caracas to the sideboard, but I don't love that. See, I don't know. I don't think it's great personally, but I'm more afraid of personally GTA than I am of. Ew, this is like kind of bad. Better, but not great. Actually, I'm gonna once first because I don't want to see the natural order. That's bad sequencing by me. I guess I take. See, now I'm getting punished, right? Like, I guess I don't really want to see any of these other cards, so maybe. See, this is like why I'm punished because if I had just taken the forest, it would have been better. So again, yeah, punished for bad sequencing on my behalf. What is the Marin card do in 4? Is this version weaker versus control? Somebody told Glimpse is needed versus control. I disagree. I actually think Glimpse is the worst it's ever been against control for 2 different reasons. You a lot of times you don't have time to glimpse because they just go like removal, 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 and you don't have mana. The other reason why I don't think glimpse is good is because some versions, and in my opinion, the better versions, play Hullbreacher and Narset. If they don't have removal, this is a must force. If they don't have removal, that is a must force. Looks like they do, or they're digging for it. Yeah, they are now suddenly in some trouble, I think. Well, we don't have the mana. That's the only thing. Now we do. Now we do. Let's see what I want to do here. I think we bash first, and then we probably visionary. I want to hit that 4th land, like pretty badly, I think. While committing to the board. So this kind of does both. They force that? Interesting. All right. You don't like Anu 4C control. Are you talking about the matchup or like do I like the deck? They might balance it here with the Teferi. Yeah. That's why they force. Makes sense. The other line, which I don't love, is a Green Sun, but for one, but I don't love that line. Why are they playing Days? What the heck? What kind of deck are we playing against? Well, why are they playing Days? I don't understand. I think it might be the Stifle deck. We get blown out here by Stifle, unfortunately. I think we take out the Teferi. Don't like that being on the board. Oh my god, what? What are we playing against? I'm talking about Jeskai. I hate playing against this kind of deck. It's like very nonsense-y. I may regret this with mana. I think it could be a Hull Breacher. Huh. Nice. I like the 4C matchup and deck. I think the deck is probably fine. I think the matchup is probably also fine. Alright, that's pretty good for us, right? Now we have full information. They will plus here. Oh, okay, the EI. That's pretty good. So, what is going on? They have Jace the Mind Sculptor and Daze in the same deck. They messed up here, in my opinion. They should have exiled the Ponder because they're going to cast it for sure. Okay, this is taking over the game. Alright. I'm glad that we didn't lose game one to that. Very strange deck. The problem is, like, how to board when people do strange things. How do we board? What the hell do we see? We just saw like a whole bunch of removal, iteration basics, Jace the Mind Sculptor with a Snapcaster. Like, what the heck? How do we board against this kind of deck? They're a control deck, but I feel like maybe they have like 1 days. I don't know, and we just got that one time. That's how I'm gonna play. Don't think we do that. I feel like Marin Prog 3/4 Cs. Possible. I feel like if I don't know for sure, I like to play around back to basics is the only thing. Answer key gaming. This is I think on a board like this. This needs to be main though. Like I play in the sideboard here. That's a mistake. And I think we keep Caracas, especially it's really nice with Marin. Like I mean, speaking of the devil, I think we want to hit land drop here. This is not a real land. Hello. Endurance is nice for snap and sanctuary. Yeah, it is. It's just like a little bit situational, but I tend to want to play around with back to basics if I can. Uh, we drew it twice. One time it was good and then died to Supreme Verdict. The other time it drew out four, so it's been good. Obviously, I don't love that we're even more vulnerable to sweeper. I mean, to graveyard hate, but I mean, I don't know what else we would play. Um, I think we reclaimer here. Actually, I made a mistake. I was supposed to play the Cradle and then Endurance if they daze, because that could matter, but it's probably fine. Sure. You don't Visionary there because you get templed out. Is my reasoning. I don't want to just like get Teferi bounce, like take over the game, right, so to speak. What would be the cut if we played our main? I haven't figured that out yet, Sadra. I think it's either a dork, uh, or the second Visionary. Probably the second Vision. I don't like cutting dorks at this hour. All right. What is the L's worst matchup? Is Rider Flame decks? All right. What are we gonna do here? Yeah, it's probably TEG. That's like pretty bad. I think we're gonna Visionary because like potentially there's a sweeper coming. This is potentially also very hot. With the Caracas protecting the Marin. Could win more though. I don't know. It's hard to say. That scares me. Interesting. How does this work with Marin? At the beginning of your answer, choose target creature in the graveyard. So the dress down doesn't work with the Marin here, unfortunately enough. Um, Maybe that's okay. Actually, I should have attacked. That was a mistake. I guess it doesn't matter. This plays through days is one nice thing though. While having the Caracas up at nap. Hey Dursey, how's it going? Okay, that's route 4, sure. Okay, interesting. So they probably don't have Supreme Verdict because it doesn't make sense to play Mentor otherwise. That's pretty good. Another force? It's Mentor control, I guess. What do you want to call it? Take that off the board. The Visionary here, to be fair, was pretty clutch. And the Mystic was kind of bad. But I don't. I feel like that's one of the two is the cut. I don't know for sure which. Wow, okay. I don't think they realize that this goes away. It's still 15 they need to block. Alright. We got the 5-0. Redemption completed. That was an accidental pun on the Cauldron complete. Oops. Alright, deck felt very good. Marin probably needs to be main. I mean you could play it sideboard I guess, but it doesn't feel like a sideboard card to me. Let's take a look at the list. Pretty nice. I think I am very sold on the ESGs. They were quite good. They saved us a few different times when they just opponents aren't playing around it, right? Um, I think the card to cut is maybe the Visionary. Like, I mean, it's to me it's either the Visionary or the Landlord, and I don't like cutting the Landlord in this kind of build. Like, you just need dorks like in the early game. Card is great in today's Legacy. Are you talking about Marin? Jack. Oh, I think Jack's actually talking about ESG, but yeah, I think it's very good. I think what it does is it prevents opponents from exploiting. Like they don't need to know like, oh, it's only turn 3. They can't natural like things like that. That people can't do against you anymore. Like because okay, if you're not gonna play around it, I could have it like 20% of the time or whatever it is. And then you just get punished, right? And then I think honestly the deck felt very good. I think the Marin was like pretty good. I'm a little bit nervous about Graveyard Hate coming in against us, but if you want to bring Graveyard Hate against us, then so be it. Because Fiend Artisan still does things in the presence of Graveyard Hate. So does Reclaimer. Marin does not, but it's only one card. Yet they have to guess now, right? It's like, oh, am I gonna daze or do I need a force just to play around ESG, right? And it's not like we're boarding out ESG against these daze decks, right? But yeah, it felt pretty good. Honestly, like we didn't really get to see this interaction with Marin. I don't know if that's correct or not, but what is it called? I know it's bad, but I think you need to play four land for style. Okay, so Slot, I would say yes. The problem is a static caster is a real card that you could see. That's the main problem, right? Like, and especially since we've given up some percentage points in terms of like we just like don't really respect control at all, right? We're like thinking about going down one visionary for what it's worth. LSV legacy players are mean. When did you say that, Shade? Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Do you think legacy players are mean? LSV recently said that unlimited resources. I think it depends. Like, I can see that being potentially true. Like legacy is very cutthroat, right? In terms of like the gameplay. So if you don't like it, I can see that counting that as me. Although to be fair, I think Maverick players are some of the nicest players I've met. So kudos to the Magic, not Magic, Maverick community for being very nice. Uh, I think I don't know. My experience is modern players tend to be kind of like the most unhinged potentially, or like pioneer players potentially. But I don't know. I don't really know enough to make a comment on that shade 920. Um, so okay, so Tony, Scapone is also very nice, right? He's raided me several times after destroying me. Punishing Waterfalls, Matt has destroyed me with oops and then raided me. Um, I feel like my gut feeling is the cut is the second visionary. Just because I think Dorks is just way too important in this deck. It's like not like we need it, like the visionary all the time, right? It's just like nice when we draw against control, but it's not a big deal. Obviously we make that cut. Then this comes to the main, and we have another room for I don't know what, like maybe crop rotation, maybe actually crop rotation would come in, maybe like I don't know, mind break trap or something, or a plague engine. We did lose the mirror, one time, so there's that. My experience is that they are more relaxed and nice than in other formats. I think so too, Slot, but like so okay, so Snuff Out might be worth it. Like maybe we just don't care about like Marin with Shriek Maw. It's not a big deal. Uh I can see just playing some Shriek Maw, and I just wanted to try, but we didn't actually have the Shriek Maw Marin interaction come up. Uh Probably Shriek Maw is better if I'm being honest. Um but that said, we did beat the Mirror. Granted, they were inexperienced without Snuff Out, and we lost the match where we had Snuff Out. But I think that had more to do with us not drawing a payoff than anything else. Um, I think with that said, who should we raid here? Could raid Caleb. He's cubing. PT Bench. Legacy. Okay, I think I'm leaning towards that because it's Legacy. So let's try PT Bench here, and then I would agree with that, Sager. I don't know. I'm open up to suggestions, but I think Marin was pretty good for what it's worth. We drew it three times, and it was the first time we drew a card, which was the Visionary, and then it got supremed, and we ended up winning that game. The second time we drew it, it got forced. The third time we played it, it also got forced. So it's like pretty good, right? Like, all right. So that said, I will figure out what to do with this later. This like feels pretty good. I think Mare needs to be made. Make a sideboard slot as usual. Um, Again, the lean right now is to cut the for second visionary or cut the fourth dork, and my lean is towards second visionary. Why Maverick bad now? What do you mean by that, Shay 920? Like, why is the deck bad or what? Raid PT bench. I think that's what you mean, but why is deck map? I think it's because it's too fair. I think you have to have a combo kill in Legacy, is the short answer. And it's why I actually think the Undoing version of Jeskai Control is the best version, to put it simple. All right, I will go ahead and now raid PT Bench. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm glad we were able to, end strong, with a 5-0 today. Almost a perfect one. We, ironically, we lost. The one we almost lost was an 8 cast, but c'est la vie, right? All right, everybody have a good night, and thanks for hanging out tonight.